They all had gas masks in their hands, but when the gas was released they chose not to wear them. Once the gas was gone, they rushed to check the birdcage, and found the bird unharmed. They breathed a sigh of relief. This proved that the gas was fake. At that moment, the train next door was releasing real gas. Passengers screamed in agony one after another. Seeing this horrible scene, everyone felt a chill down their spine. It turns out this was a game. The train had 8 carriages, 4 of which released real gas. Each person's mask could only be used 5 times. This meant that with every carriage, they had to face life or death choices, whether to use up their precious chance, or gamble that this carriage was fake. One wrong move, and the consequences would be fatal. After entering the first carriage, the passengers noticed there was no difference. The only difference was a bird. It was their reference to confirm if the gas was real. Since the game had just started, no one dared to gamble with their life, so they all wore their masks. When the gas was released, the bird kept hopping around. This meant they wasted 1 oxygen tank. After entering the second carriage, no one dared to take a risk. Everyone chose to wear their masks again. This time, the bird died in the gas. It looked like they guessed right. The train released real gas. Now they just had to guess which of the next 3 carriages had toxic gas, and they'd make it to the end. Jack thought the game designers would place real gas in the later carriages, because in the early stages, everyone would be under psychological pressure and use up their oxygen tanks. By the later stages, they could poison everyone. Statistically, the third carriage probably had no gas. Everyone believed his reasoning, so this time they decided not to wear their masks. And luckily, they guessed correctly. This carriage turned out to have fake gas. Then a fat man stood up. He was a train enthusiast. He knew the model of this train, that the ceiling had power supply equipment, which took up a lot of space, and one was installed every other carriage, so the first and third carriages had them, but this carriage didn't, so this one would have real gas. After hearing his analysis, most people put on their masks, but a few didn't believe the fat guy, thinking it couldn't be that simple. They decided to keep their masks off. Then those who didn't wear their masks started foaming at the mouth and convulsing. The gas was indeed nerve toxin. Those who didn't listen to the fat guy's warning were all poisoned to death. The train fell into silence. After getting through a few carriages, the fat man suddenly realized he had misjudged the model of the train. They had barely passed by luck. Time was running out. Only 3 carriages left, and 2 of them had toxic gas. The fat man came up with an idea. The train had just passed the same station. This meant they would be parallel again in about 3 minutes. The gas in the other train had already been released. As long as they jumped to that train when they were parallel, they might survive. This was their last chance. Sure enough, not long after, the 2 trains were parallel. Everyone waited for the right moment, jumped to the opposite train door, and successfully reached a safe carriage. Just like that, they made it onto another train, and survived this deadly challenge.